Hey guys, welcome to week 9 of the NFL. I'm going to give you my bets and plays for this week, and then also a quick recap from week 8. Before I start, guys, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Week 8, another losing week 1 and 2, so the last couple weeks haven't been great. The one I got right was New Orleans +6 against Tampa Bay, so we were able to get that one right. Yeah, and then I took Minnesota. That one was just such a disappointing loss for the Minnesota Vikings against Dallas. Really, that could have been the last straw for Mike Zimmer. I think 3 coaches in that division have kind of run their course in the NFC North. That is, I think Mike Zimmer's days in Minnesota are I think he's done, to be honest with you, by the end of the year. Dan Campbell in Detroit is a disaster at this point, and Matt Nagy is a mess in Chicago. I think all 3 of these coaches, maybe Campbell might give him some slack. It's his first year with a bad team, but I think the other guys are gone. So that Minnesota game was so bad. A game you absolutely cannot lose that game to Dallas and Cooper Rush. And I'm all for the injured player theory. I like taking the backup quarterback in the first game, but no excuse for Minnesota to lay an egg. But I should have known better. Kirk Cousins on prime time is not good. That's one win, lose, or draw. It's a good bet. Taking Minnesota, they just laid an egg, like I said. The only game I regret from last week was the Detroit game. Obviously, I will admit I was on the wrong side of that game. There's very few picks. I'm not gonna go back my pick and say, well, I regret that one very often at all. Hindsight's 2020, and I'm just gonna stick with. There was a reason why I bet the game, because I saw something I liked. But the Detroit game, I that game I got wrong flat out. I mean, taking the Lions was a sucker bet. It just +3.5 against the Eagles, and I'm like, man, I just thought that could be a good spot for them, but just the way the Eagles have been playing. But the Eagles, it really just shows you how bad Detroit is, and because the Eagles are not a great team, but that was a step down in class for the Eagles, and they took a full advantage and just blew out the Lions. So that was the wrong pick for sure. But we got the New Orleans one right. The Minnesota one was just a tough beat. No way the Vikings should have lost that one. But a 1-2 week, 17-11 now on the season, and we look again to turn the page into week 9. I like this week, guys. I hope it pays out. Again, win, lose, or tie these ones here. I have 5 plays, so I think I've typically had 3 at most 4 picks a week. This week we're going with 5. And I really like them. Let's get started here. First game I like, New England at Carolina. New England is a 4.5 point favorite, and I flat out like Carolina +4.5. This is a game here. The Patriots, yeah, they've looked good the last couple of weeks, but they haven't played anybody. They've beaten the Jets twice this season. They've beaten Houston last week. An impressive win for sure in LA against the Chargers, but I did say in my last video I did lean New England in that game. But now New England is a favorite, and now they're not a dog anymore. They're a road favorite of 4.5, and I just don't think they're that much better than Carolina. We know Carolina's offense struggle. I don't know if Sam Darnold's going to play. He's questionable. If he doesn't play, Walker is the backup. Not a good quarterback at all. Not a starting quarterback in this league. He went to Temple, and I believe his coach was Matt Rule, the Carolina head coach. So they do know each other, but he's not a good quarterback. I just don't know how much of a drop-off it is from. Sam Darnold isn't necessarily lighting it up. The big thing is, can Christian McCaffrey come back? I think he's going to be on a limited snap basis. But I'm not betting Carolina because of their offense. Their defense is really good. Like in most offensive categories in yards allowed per game, both total yards and rush yards allowed, passing yards allowed, they're pretty much second in the NFL. This is a really good defense who's coming back home, who has a lot of energy. And again, just like last week, I took New Orleans. I like taking a home dog with the better defense, and that's what I'm taking in this game. I think New England's a little bit overrated. I don't think they've beat anyone, except last week against the Chargers, but otherwise they haven't had a very tough schedule. I don't like Bill Belichick going up against a bad quarterback like Walker. But like I said, betting on this defense. Hopefully, Christian McCaffrey can do a little bit. I really don't care who plays quarterback in this game. I'd probably rather take a Sam Darnold who's a bit banged up over, I think it's PJ Walker or whatever his name is. But yeah, give me Carolina plus 4.5. I think the Patriots are going to be super public this week. They have to be. They're going to, just the way they won last week. In Carolina, yeah, they won last week, but they were struggling up until that game against a bad Atlanta team. Give me Carolina plus 4.5. Second game, I'm going again with a home dog with a better defense, and that's the New York Giants. Plus 3.5 against the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders, again, will be, I'm sure of it, a public team this week. They're coming off a bye week. The Giants are on a short week playing Monday Night Football. So huge rest advantage to Vegas. 2 weeks for 6 days for the Giants. And Vegas overall has looked pretty good this year. But I'm not sold on this Vegas team. Yeah, you got to give them credit. They've battled through a tough season, a lot of distractions. They had it with Gruden, and now this week with Ruggs. So it's going to say a lot about this team this week in terms of can they rally together and pull through. But they have a big game next week. They play the Chiefs next week. I don't know how focused they're going to be in a non-conference game, flying out to the East Coast. I mean, I think they won, I think it was last year in New York against the Jets, or the year before in that Hail Mary pass by Derek Carr. But I don't know. I don't really like the Raiders laying points, 3 in the hook on the road against a Giants team. Yeah, again, offense, like Carolina, questionable. Like Christian McCaffrey, unknown game status, same with Saquon Barkley. I don't think he's going to play. The Giants are banged up on offense. But again, the Giants actually have a pretty good defense. They've had a good defense the last couple of years. But unfortunately, their offense isn't that great. So they just, they fatigue over the course of the game and kind of give up. Defense is a lot about effort. And when you have a bad offense, the defense can only hold them for so long. And they feed off the offense, right? So, but I think the Giants offense will be able to do enough in this game. I'm not a huge believer in Vegas. 3.5 points. I like the Giants. I think the Giants are live to win this game. Another semi-ugly game, but I like the Giants plus 3.5. The third game, Chargers at Philadelphia. Chargers are a 2.5 point favorite. I do like the Chargers here at minus 2.5. I'm not getting on this Philly train here. They're not a good team. They're coming back home. Yes. I don't think they've won a home game this year. I could be wrong, but I think the Eagles have just been a much better team on the road. The Chargers flying out east to Philadelphia, I don't think affects them. The Chargers in recent years have been better on the road. They've actually played better on the East Coast. They've struggled of late. I think there's some value at less than a field goal. I think they get it right this week. I think they're just too much. The only thing that worries me a little bit is the Chargers don't have a good rush defense, and Philadelphia will probably want to run the ball. But otherwise, the Chargers are just flat out a better team. Like, if you would ask me 2-3 weeks ago, in essentially a pick'em game, who would you take, Philly or the Chargers, regardless of where they're playing? I think everyone would say, yeah, take the Chargers. I don't think a whole lot's changed in the last couple of weeks. I think the Chargers just have hit a bit of a rough patch there, and the Eagles have just had, they beat the Lions. That's essentially it. Give me the Chargers minus 2.5. Next game, Green Bay and Kansas City. Kansas City's minus 7. I do like Kansas City at minus 7. Actually, the beginning of the week when Rodgers was still expected to play, this game was essentially a pick'em, Chiefs minus 1. And I wanted to pick Kansas City. I would have loved taking the Chiefs there. With Rodgers playing. Now that he's not playing and at minus 7, it makes the game a bit more difficult to pick because the Chiefs have been burning money the last couple of years. They do not cover spreads. This is well known. And now that they're laying a touchdown, this is historically in the last couple of years, this is one the Chiefs just do not cover. They win, but they don't cover. But this is when I'm laying the full touchdown because, again, injured quarterback theory, yes, this could give you reason to pick Green Bay, but I just don't think Jordan Love's going to get it done. first started as an NFL quarterback going to Arrowhead. Yeah, it's a bad defense, but this is a tough place for him to play. He gets Devontae Adams back, sure. But the Chiefs here, they haven't looked good this season. Their wins have not been convincing. They haven't looked all that great in their wins. Again, a short week for them, but the Chiefs here, I just think they just rout the Packers. I just don't think they have. I don't know how Jordan Love's going to keep up with this Packers team, and the Packers are due for, I think, a bit of a. They're 7-1 now. They're due just to come up a bit flat. Give me the Chiefs at laying the touchdown at -7. Last game, guys, Arizona and San Francisco. San Francisco is a 1-point favorite. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers -1. I was on San Francisco way back at the beginning of the year when these two teams played in Arizona. It was a game where Trey Lance was the quarterback for the Niners, a game where the Niners actually should have won. They lost 17-10, but if you watch that game, the Niners really got unfortunate, had some bad breaks, and they lost that game. This line might be up to 2.5, 3 now, but I got them at -1, so I have some value there. I'm taking the Niners. The Cardinals, they're banged up. I don't know if Hopkins is questionable, Murray's questionable, and I don't really care. If they don't play, I don't think they have a shot. If they do play, they're banged up. And the Niners defense, they still have a fast, especially front four, so they're going to get after Murray and cause all kinds of havoc. I just think Arizona at this point, they're just due for, a tough divisional loss. And I think this week will be the week. San Francisco has not won a home game. They're 0-3. I think they'll get it right this week and win one. Give me the Niners -1. Those are my 5 plays, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's get it going this week. Good luck in week 9.